Romance of Sui and Tang Dynasties, Chapter 26.
Chapter 26. It opens with, in life between heaven and earth, there is prosperity and decline, gathering and parting. You immediately get this sense that these characters know their time together is fragile, that the world around them is falling apart.
That feeling of separation, of chaos looming, it's absolutely central. The text calls it a confused and lustful age. And what that really means, practically speaking, is that talented people, even someone with just one craft or skill, they couldn't just lie low. They had to seek out connections, build networks. Staying isolated wasn't really an option if you wanted to survive. Stability was gone.
That point where these personal bonds, this sworn brotherhood, shifts. It stops being just about friendship and becomes, well, almost an alternative system of protection, a kind of shadow government against the corrupt state. Okay, the story kicks off with three of our heroes on the road, Shan Jiangshan, Wang Budang, and Li Xuansui. They're traveling unconstrained, sort of enjoying a moment's peace. But Li Xuansui is clearly worried, needs to get home. And Shan Jiangshan, being Shan Jiangshan, says, hold on, we need one last proper drink together before we split.
And where they choose to stop is really significant, isn't it? Bao Mountain.
Yes. Shan Jiangshan points it out explicitly. He says, this is the place famous for Guanzong and Bao Shu's friendship, the whole Guan Bao Fenjin dividing the gold story.
Right, bringing up Guan and Bao, that's not casual.
No. What does invoking that level of legendary friendship signal to you and to the listener about what's about to happen?
It immediately raises the stakes, I think. It frames everything that follows. This isn't just mates helping mates. This is about testing a profound brotherhood, what the text calls yishang yu loyalty, with the surplus loyalty that goes above and beyond. They're basically saying, our bond is deeper, more moral than the current system. It's like they're building their own code on this hallowed ground.
Okay, so the three arrive at this little wine shop, the kind with the slanting banner outside, and surprise, two acquaintances are already there, Li Rugi and Qi Guiyan. A chance meeting. And then Li Rugi introduces the key figure for this whole episode, Du Jiande, described as a great hero, a Weiran Yi Zhangfu.
And Zhang Jiangxin knows of him. He says he's long wanted to meet him, heard about his righteousness from Lu Haida. So Du Jiande fits right into this network.
And right there, the six of them renew their vows of brotherhood, cementing the alliance at Bao Mountain itself.
Yeah, the timing, the place, it all feels very intentional.
So once they're all settled, the mood shifts pretty quickly from greetings to, well, the serious problems facing their friends. Specifically, Qin Shubao.
Ah, yes, Qin Shubao's recent troubles. Wang Bodang lays it all out. The tricky mission delivering gifts for his mother's birthday, getting caught up in that mess at Jia Renfu's store.
Cheng Yaojin, the thief, and then Qin Shubao burning the official warrant. A whole chain reaction.
And that chain reaction is crucial because it highlights the sheer cost of just existing within this corrupt system. These weren't small problems. Wang Bodang explains they needed serious political muscle, fast. Li Xuansui and Chai Chang had to scramble to get money just to smooth things over, pay people off, so Qin Shubao could walk away.
It's staggering. 3,000 silver just to get out of a jam. It shows the system isn't about justice at all, it's just extraction.
Exactly. It's basically like dealing with, well, a protection racket run by officials. Qin Shubao needed his network's financial power just to survive the encounter.
And hearing about this massive payoff, this blatant corruption, it clearly hits Du Jian hard. He's been quiet, but now he just slams his hand on the table.
Right, pure rage. And he vows, that their brotherhood will eventually take down these corrupt dogs of the state.
And it's personal for him, isn't it? This isn't just abstract anger about his friend. He's got his own story.
He does. He shares his own tragedy back in Beizhou. His wife had recently passed away. He wasn't really focused on business. And then the state finds another way to interfere, this practice of selecting embroidered women, the shunu, for the court.
So we shift from financial corruption, like with Qin Shubao, to something much more personal, the state trying to seize people.
Precisely. And the target is his 13-year-old daughter, Xianyang. The text makes a point of describing her skills, not just beautiful or good at embroidery, but also an accomplished swordswoman, could dance a sword like a soaring dragon. She's clearly exceptional.
And because she's marked as first class, the officials see her as a prize. They move to take her. So Du Jian does what Qin Shubao's friends did, tries money, offers bribes, 100, maybe 200 gold to get her exempted. But they refuse, which suggests that when it comes to claiming actual people, lives, and labor, maybe simple bribery isn't enough. They want the person. Or maybe they just want more leverage.
Could be. And what's really striking is Xianyang's reaction. She's 13, remember. She doesn't just wait. She starts selling family assets and gathers what the text calls desperate men, basically hires muscle, and gets ready to fight the local officials herself.
Incredible. A teenager preparing for armed resistance against the government just to stay free. That says everything about how broken things were.
It really does. The fear of her actually doing it seems to be what forces Dujian's hand. He rushes back, spends over 1,000 gold on top of the failed bribes to finally get her official exemption.
1,000 gold. Still a huge sum.
Huge. But even with the paperwork, he knows it's not safe. The officials are still sniffing around, so he has to hide her with her aunt in a place called Jiexi. That requires constant active defiance, and even then
it's not over. Because the story takes another turn right there at the wine shop.
They've barely absorbed Du Jian's story when his old servant Du Cheng shows up, looks exhausted since he slept by the roadside.
And he's got urgent news. The officials in Beizu figured out where Xianyang was hiding or suspected it. They're actively searching GXU now. Xianyang felt the net closing in, so she sent the servant to get Du Jian back immediately.
Du Jian's ready to bolt, obviously, but then Shan Xiangxin steps up, and this is where you see the Brotherhood become a real practical force.
He doesn't just offer sympathy. He offers sanctuary.
Exactly. That Yi Qi in action. He says, look, Chen Shibao's away. My estate is secure. If Jixu isn't safe, bring Jianyang to my place. Bring her to live with my own daughter. He literally promises her safety, tells Du Jian, no worries.
That's basically declaring his estate off limits to the state, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's saying, my loyalty network overrides imperial decree when it comes to protecting your child.
It's a direct challenge. It's turning the Brotherhood into a physical sanctuary, providing the safety the government should offer, but doesn't.
And Shan Jiangxin is all business about it, too. He doesn't just make the offer, he organizes the rescue. He tells Wang Bodang and Li Xuansui, pointing out their agile talent compared to his own roughness, that they need to go with Du Jian to GXU right away. Assess the situation.
It's smart delegation. He knows it needs more than just force. It needs quick thinking, maybe some subtlety.
And he funds it. Gives his attendant 50 taels of silver for their expenses. No hesitation. This needs to happen. Here are the resources.
The whole response is just immediate, decisive, practical. And you see the others, Qi Guoyan and Li Rugui, they feel a bit left out. They actually plot to take a shortcut to GXU themselves because they want to prove they're useful for more than just, killing and setting fires.
Even the rougher elements are fully committed. Everyone drops everything. Protect the child. That's the priority.
The whole network mobilizes instantly.
So the stage is set. You've got this well-funded, highly motivated delegation racing towards GXU to snatch this 13-year-old swordswoman back from the state.
But then comes the twist.
Right. The final reveal. Du Jiande, Wang Bodang, Li Xuansui are rushing there, plans in motion, but Xianyang hasn't been waiting around.
No, she hadn't. The source tells us that just 2 days after sending the servant off, she took matters into her own hands again.
She assessed the danger level, realized waiting wasn't an option, and initiated her own escape.
Cleverly disguised herself as a boy, apparently, and fled GXU with her aunt and brother.
So they didn't rescue her from GXU. They actually meet her aunt and brother on the road. She was already out.
Yeah. The mission then becomes getting them all settled safely, which they do in Yixin village.
This misery, and you really have to start with the decree that kicks it all off.
Yeah, the Xunyu decree. Selecting embroidered women for the court sounds almost administrative.
On paper? Maybe, but
Yeah.
the sources show it immediately turned into this engine of misery. Local officials just saw it as a payday.
How so? What were they doing?
Basically shaking down families. If your daughter might be selected, you were desperate. It meant, potentially losing her forever to the court, or worse.
So people try to bribe their way out?
Massively. We're talking thousands of liang in bribes, just hoping officials would look the other way.
Okay, wait, let's put that into perspective. Liang and Jin, these are weights of silver, right? Used as currency.
Exact. Silver?
Yeah.
And thousands of liang. That's a fortune. Way beyond what a normal family could possibly afford.
So it wasn't just paying a fine, it was ruinous.
Absolutely generational ruin. There's a specific story in the sources, the Shia family. Tragic.
What happened to them?
They scraped together everything they had, managed to raise 500 jin, which, by the way, is still a huge amount, like 250 kilos of silver.
Wow.
It wasn't enough. The official took the money and still selected their daughter anyway.
Unbelievable. So the state, or at least its local agents, were basically predators.
That's the picture painted, yeah. The main hardship wasn't famine or war at this specific moment. It was the greed of the officials themselves.
Li Rugui and Qi Guoyan.
The sources say they were in a town, Jiexi, But everyone was talking about this corrupt envoy and the Shu knew misery.
Just town gossip.
Yeah, but it was impossible to ignore. They heard about the envoy, Zhu Tingfu, and all the silver changing hands.
And they saw an opportunity, a big business opportunity, as the sources put it.
This was the main prize. They pivoted fast.
And their target is the imperial envoy himself, Zhu Tingfu, a Qinche Zengshi. That's high level, right?
Extremely high level, a direct representative of the emperor. Taking him down isn't just robbery, it's like poking the dragon in the eye. It's a huge political statement.
Which means they couldn't just jump him on the road. They needed a plan.
A clever tactic, the sources call it. Very specific. This wasn't impulse, it was calculated.
Okay, break it down for us. What was this clever tactic?
2 parts. First, Li Rugi heads back to their main camp like lightning. Star flying is the phrase used.
Star flying, love that. What's he getting?
Capable men. So, back up. And crucial supplies. We find out later what those are. Hint. It involves chemistry.
Okay, so Li Rugi handles the logistics. What about Qi Guayuan?
Qi Guayuan takes a less used route, this small western mountain road. His job is to get ahead of the envoy's party.
To scout.
To stake out the ambush point. They knew exactly where Zhu Tingfu was expected to rest this place called Qingsu Pavilion, near Shailu.
How do they know that? That specific?
Good question. The sources don't explicitly say, but it suggests really good intelligence. Maybe someone on the inside. A bribed clerk in the postal system. Hard to know for sure.
But it shows planning. Deep planning.
Yeah.
Not just some random holdup.
Definitely. And think about the bigger picture. The government's supposed to protect its top officials, right?
You'd think so. Especially an imperial envoy.
But clearly things were so chaotic, or the local officials so preoccupied with their own scams, that this high-value target was just incredibly vulnerable traveling through the countryside.
And that vulnerability plays out spectacularly. Zhu Tingfu's traveling in style, right? Sedan chair, guards.
Oh yeah, slowly, comfortably. Then suddenly this storm hits. But it's described weirdly.
How so?
Like gale, strange fog, sounds of roaring beasts, flying sand. It feels almost supernatural in the telling.
A bit over the top, maybe, or just emphasizing the chaos?
Could be either. But the practical effect is clear. It forces the whole entourage to scramble for shelter.
And the nearest place?
Qingsu Pavilion, this little temple with an old monk. Perfect timing for the bandits.
So they duck inside. And then what? More corruption?
Immediately. Almost comical if it weren't so grim. The local postal commissioner from Yangningzhou sends over this incredibly lavish meal. A dismounting meal.
A welcome gift, or?
Oh, it's a bribe disguised as hospitality. Roast pork, fat sheep, fancy cakes, even 16 special dishes just for the envoy. Trying to curry favor.
And this meal becomes the way in for the bandits.
Exactly. Because guess who shows up pretending to be the postal commissioner delivering the feast?
Let me guess. Li Rugi. Back from camp already.
You got it. He introduces himself using a fake name, Jia Wen. Smooth, professional, totally plays the part.
Okay, so he's inside. But Yu Tingfu has guards, eunuchs right beside him, surely.
He does. 2 young eunuchs, Xian Aijin, his personal attendants. They're standing right there.
So how does Li Rugi isolate him?
Very cleverly. He uses the feast. He makes sure, very politely of course, that these 2 eunuchs go downstairs to join the guards and everyone else who's about to chow down.
Leaving Zhu Tingfu alone upstairs.
Pretty much alone, yeah. Vulnerable.
But still, the guards downstairs. How do they take out a whole escort without a massive fight breaking out?
Remember those crucial supplies Li Rugi went back for?
The ones you hinted about.
This is where they come in. It's a 2-part chemical attack, perfectly timed.
Okay, tell me.
Upstairs, Li Rugi is flattering Zhu Tingfu, talking about future promotions, buttering him up, then offers him a big cup of hot wine.
And Zhu Tingfu drinks it.
Brings it down, and bam, collapses, out cold.
Just like that. What was in the wine?
The source doesn't specify the exact drug for him, but downstairs.
What was happening downstairs?
Simultaneously, Qi Guiyuan had mixed something called Meng Hanyao into the wine being served to all the soldiers and guards.
Meng Hanyao. What's that?
Basically a knockout drug.
Yeah.
A powerful, stupefying agent. Fast-acting.
So everyone just collapsed.
The entire security detail, all the guards, soldiers, attendants, downed the wine and just went lights out. No noise, no struggle, just silence.
That is incredibly efficient and terrifying.
Utterly professional.
Okay.
And what happens next shows their focus. Zhu Tingfu is bound, tied up right in his own fancy sedan chair.
Do they loot the place? Take the silver plates from the feast?
Nope. This is fascinating. They leave everything. The expensive food, untouched, any valuables the guards might have had, they ignore it all. They only wanted him. the high-value political target. They grab the sedan chair with Zhu Tingfu inside, and they're gone. Up the mountain, fast, leaving everyone else unconscious.
Just focused on the primary objective, not petty theft.
Exactly, which tells you something about their motives already.
So Zhu Tingfu wakes up. Where?
Bound, inside the sedan chair being carried up a mountain. He arrives at the bandit stronghold. Grand entrance, too. 3 cannon blasts signal his arrival.
Welcoming committee, bandit style. Must have been terrifying.
And then the big reveal. He's brought before the bandit chief, Li Rugi. But now Li Rugi's not the polite postal commissioner.
What's he look like now?
Full bandit king mode, sitting on a tiger skin chair, decked out in outlaw gear. Imagine Zhu Tingfu's face, realizing the guy who served him knockout wine is now his captor.
The humiliation.
Must have been absolute. And Li Rugi doesn't waste time. He lays into him.
About money. Ransom.
Not at first. It's pure shaming. He calls him a eunuch dog, accuses him of profiteering off the Siunu decree, demands to know why he's extorting poor families.
Yeah.
He's acting like a judge.
So the bandit is playing the moral high ground.
Seems like it, initially. He's confronting the corruption head on.
How does Zhu Tingfu react? Does he confess?
Oh, please. No, he immediately tries to deflect. Says, it wasn't me, it was the local officials, the clerks, the lisu. They were the ones taking the bribes.
Passing the blame down the chain. Typical.
Textbook.
Yeah.
But Li Rugi shuts him down hard, calls it talking nonsense, says he's heard the truth all along, basically saying, we know what you've been doing.
Implying the bandits have better intel from the ground than the government.
That's the implication, yeah. And he threatens him with execution right then and there.
But they don't kill him, obviously. What stops Li Rugi?
This is where the other leader, Qi Guoyuan, steps in, and his argument shifts everything.
How so?
Qi Guoyuan says, hold on, let's treat him relatively well. Because this guy, Zhu Tingfu, he's important. He's connected.
Connected how?
Politically connected. Qi Guoyuan points out they might need his influence later if they ever want to seek Zaon.
Zaon, what's that amnesty?
Exactly. Amnesty and recruitment by the state. It was a known path for powerful bandit groups or rebels during chaotic times. Basically, turn legitimate.
Whoa. Okay, so this isn't just about punishing a corrupt official anymore.
Not at all. It's suddenly very strategic. They see Zhu Tingfu not just as a source of cash, but as a potential bargaining chip for their own future political integration.
They're playing in the long game, using crime to potentially join the establishment.
Precisely. Capturing a guy this high up, ransoming him, and letting him go demonstrates their power, their organization, and their willingness to negotiate qualities the state might actually value in desperate times.
Oh, okay, so the immediate goal becomes ransom. How much do they ask for?
A staggering amount. Li Rugi demands 10,000 jin of silver. For provisions, he says.
10,000 jin, that's what, 5 tons of silver?
Something like that, an absolutely colossal sum. And Qi Guoyuan is standing right there, waving a sword around, just to emphasize the point.
Okay, Zhu Tingfu must be terrified now. What does he do?
He talks with his 2 eunuchs. The older one, Zhu Quan, gives him some very practical, cynical advice.
What is?
Pay up. Pay fast. These guys kill without blinking an eye, he says. Your life is worth more than the silver.
Sound advice in that situation, I suppose.
And this is where we get the smoking gun about Zhu Tingfu's own corruption.
How?
Because Zhu Tingfu agrees to pay. And how does he propose getting 5 tons of silver on short notice?
Where does he have that kind of money?
He tells them to collect the silver he had deposited in the treasuries of various prefectures and counties along his route.
Wait. Deposited in official treasuries? His personal bribe money?
Bingo. He wasn't hiding it under his mattress. He was using the state's own financial infrastructure as his personal piggy bank, stashing his illicit gains right within the system he represented.
That is breathtakingly corrupt. It confirms everything Li Rugi accused him of.
Absolutely. It's the perfect illustration of how deep the rot went. So Zhu Quan, the eunuch, gets an ingot of silver for his travel costs and is sent off to collect the ransom.
What's the deadline?
5 days. Get the silver, or Zhu Tingfu faces the consequences.
So Zhu Quan reaches the local officials. What's their reaction?
Pure panic. The officials in Yangningsu and Fenzhou are terrified when they hear the news.
Worried about the envoy's safety.
Well, yes, but mostly worried about themselves. They know Zhu Tingfu is a favored court official.
Meaning he has powerful backers.
Extremely powerful. The Fenzhou prefect spells it out. If this guy gets hurt or killed on their watch, it's not just demotion they're facing, it's risking their lives and families.
So their fear isn't the bandits, it's the emperor. Or whoever Xu Tingfu reports to.
Exactly. The central authority, however weakened, still holds the power of life and death over them, especially if a favorite is involved. They know they have to get him back.
So they scramble to raise the ransom.
They try. They manage to pull 2,000 jin from the public treasury.
But the demand was 10,000.
Right. The bandits refuse the 2,000.
Yeah.
Not nearly enough.
So what happens? Does Xu Tingfu have to cough up his own stash?
He has no choice.
Yeah.
He's forced to authorize the release of another 3,000 jin of his own personally embezzled silver, the money he had hidden in those official treasuries.
So the final ransom paid was 5,000 jin, half the initial demand, but still enormous.
Still enormous, yeah. 2,000 from the public purse, 3,000 from his private corruption fund. The bandits basically taxed his graft.
And they release him.
They release him. From the bandits' perspective, a huge success. They got a massive amount of silver for provisions, demonstrated their power, and maybe laid the groundwork for future Zhaolan.
What about Xu Tingfu? Does this ordeal, chasing him, make him rethink his ways?
That's the really bleak part of the story, you'd think maybe, right? Humiliation, near-death experience?
Yeah, maybe a little self-reflection.
Absolutely none. The sources are explicit. After being released, Xu Tingfu became even more arrogant. He apparently used 1,000 stratagems. So even more devious methods to extort even more silver from officials as he continued his Yu Nu selection mission.
So the kidnapping just made him double down on the corruption.
It seems like the fear and humiliation just fueled his greed and ruthlessness. He needed to recoup his losses and probably reassert his dominance.
Wow. So the story starts with systemic corruption causing misery. Then you get these bandits acting like vigilantes, punishing the corrupt officials.
Well, sort of rough justice, yeah.
But in the end, the corruption isn't fixed. It actually gets worse. The source has that final line, right, about Xu Tingfu.
Yeah, it concludes chillingly. This place produced a greedy wolf, referring to Xu Tingfu. The whole episode just reinforced his predatory nature.
So the bandit intervention, it moved money around from one corrupt pocket to the bandits' coffers.
Definitely shifted wealth and power temporarily. Established the bandits as a force to be reckoned with.
But it did nothing to cure the actual disease in the system. The rot remained, maybe even deepened.
Exactly. It highlights the failure of simply attacking symptoms without addressing the cause. The structure that allowed Xu Tingfu's corruption remained untouched.